Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. This is Robin and today is Lampworking 101.54. I am so excited to share this technique with you guys. It is just incredible to watch this. I hope you have some silver foil around because you'll definitely need this. We're going to be suspending this silver inside of a cane today, hence the name, colloidal silver. I call it the High Silver Colloidal Cane. And that just means that the molecules are suspended in whatever form it is. But we're going to use some silver foil. And all I'm doing here is getting some glass hot, smashing it down, and going into my silver foil. Being careful not to overheat it at this point. You don't want any of the silver to melt into the clear glass. Just keep it warm at the end of your flame and you'll be fine. But you're going to get a nice gather hot and go ahead and place it on both sides of this lollipop shape. We're going to completely encase this bit of silver with the clear. I did make another cane that you'll see me using later on that has a different color on the inside. And it has a really cool effect too. So you'll see two different types at the end of this video. I want to be really careful to not trap any bubbles in here. So I'm just getting a lot of glass hot and just pushing it where I need to fill up all those areas, making sure that I add enough to the bottom to completely encase that silver. I was so excited to be able to learn this technique and share it with you guys. I've always wanted to be able to use silver but without having to necessarily just melt it into the color or the clear or whatever. This is a great way to be able to still have all the silvery effect and not have it burning into your glass. So I'm just make my lollipop again, and then I'm going to pull and fold. And this whole thing is a series of pulling and folding the glass, just like taffy. Yum, my favorite. And when I tweeze it down, I want to make sure that I start in the center and tweeze my way out so you are not trapping any bubbles in here. I may have ended up with a couple bubbles because my cane did snap in a couple areas when I applied it, but just do your best to make sure that everything is pushed out from the center. So far I've folded it twice and I'm going to press it out again. I just love the way the silver starts to spread out. And we're going to get this really, really nice and kneaded. Just like a little silver glass pastry. All right, so that's our third fold. You can fold it as many times as you want to. I think the more times you fold it, the more interesting it's going to look. But in between each fold, you definitely want to press it. Now this is folding it the other way. So I'm going to fold it in half. Well, I fold it from the sides instead of pulling it. You see what I'm doing? Now at this point, I'm just going to try to round it out a little bit. I'm going to do this again. Flatten it one more time. Yeah, and all that silver is still there. That's what I love about this. Any different color that you add to the center is going to give it a completely different look. And once you have everything just about rounded out and you're tired of folding, you're going to attach a puntee to one side and then just kind of shape it up a little bit. I tend to be a little sloppy with my glass. It's not always perfect. I just try to push it into a perfect shape. So I'm going for like a football shape like I like to do, adding a puntee to the other side. And then to make this pull, you'll notice this cane is, because it's so heavy with the silver, it seems to pull out much stiffer. But oh my gosh, look at this. It's so amazing. When I pulled this cane out, I was just fascinated by it. I made a whole bunch of these. I was just like super excited just to hold the cane and to see all that silver suspended inside. The cane will be bumpy in places because the silver can only break up so much. So there will be some areas. Now you see on the other side, we have the cane that I used some color in just for the inside. And then I added the silver on top of it. That was I think it was a Terra Nova by Double Helix. So you'll see me use a little bit of that in the end. It looks super cool. So you don't necessarily have to start with a base of clear before you put the silver on. But oh my gosh, just to see the silver at the end and to play with it like this, it's just the coolest thing. I really recommend that you all give this a try. Okay, now we're gonna make this bead just so we can see what these canes look like. And I decided that I'm going to use a bead press. So I need to make sure that this bead is long enough to fit in that press. And I'm just gonna heat up both sides and in the center a little bit. And just start to check. I notice I need a little bit more. I'm using a larger bit of cane. This is like a 10 millimeter cane. It really helps me to get a lot more glass hot so I don't have to, put so many discs on. All right, that looks good. So now that we have our length for this mold, we're gonna build up the sides. I'm gonna put quite a bit of black. This is a great base color to start out with. I just wanna really see how that silver is going to look on the darkest surface. Everybody builds up their beads differently, and sometimes I just like to add a whole bunch of wraps. And if you saw my previous video, you'll know that I've been trying to work a little bit more with the paddle there, so I don't have to continue to, it's so many edits a lot of times, but it really is helpful to have it right there under the flame. So I'm trying to get to be better friends with the graphite paddle. All right. With this big lentil shape, I always like to add a slight bit in the center when I'm done building up my bead. I know it's gonna need it. And this is about the size I'm going for before I add my cane. Here it is, the cane, and I'm putting it on nice and slow, and I'm telling you, it just worked really nice. And then I hit a couple bubbles, and I just had to work through it. So, you're gonna have to play with this pattern a little bit when you use this, however you decide to use it. But I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose any of it. I just wanted to keep my pattern going, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of this Terra Nova colloidal cane. You can see how bumpy the cane is too. I think that's fascinating. And when you see this cane in person, before you even add it to the glass, it looks like this little bit of glass magic. It's just amazing. I must say it was not the easiest bead to photograph at the end. It didn't quite do it justice, but you do see a good amount of sparkle. I think it was the shape of the bead that threw the lights off at the end, but I think it came out all right. And now I'm just spending a whole bunch of time just gently melting that pattern in, smoothing it down as I go. I didn't want to overheat anything too much to where things started sagging, so it took me a long time to get to the right shape on this bead in the end. I may or may not have cut out some of this footage. I decided that I wasn't going to, I was getting tired, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put the clear on. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let's leave it a little bumpy under there. I want to pull a little bit of that clear off. Anytime the end of the tip of the clear looks like bubbly, you want to take that off. That has ruined so many of my pieces. So you make sure you do that, and then I'm just wrapping it. I'm putting a really big wrap. I call this like a lazy wrap because it's not real tight. It's just kind of a loose wrap all the way around. I want to make sure that I don't add too much glass to this because I know I'll be having to go into that little lentil mold soon. I am so glad I was able to learn this technique, you guys. It was new to me when I saw it, but it made me so happy that I just had to share. Okay, so I'm heating this up real good, and my ends are kind of pulled in, which is nice. I give it a good press, and it just fills that little mold perfectly. So I was really happy, and it's okay to press a couple times. Just make sure you don't have any bead release in the press before you make your press. And then do spend a good amount of time making sure that the lenses of each side of this bead are completely clear of any kind of bead release. And you guys, this just looks spectacular. Look at the sparkle. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, and on that note, we will see you guys next week. Take care.